Do we need to get in there better? Yeah.
There we go. Hello everyone on Twitch. Welcome. We are live streaming from Relic headquarters in Vancouver. Of course, Stormless, General's Gentleman,
Hey.
Jesulin,
Hey.
and DEVM.
Hey. Unfortunately, we're a little understaffed as far as microphones go. So Stormless and I have one, but for Jesulin and DEVM, we're gonna have to pass around the mic.
We definitely are, yeah. So hopefully as well, I would be interested in some feedback on this because I've had about 5 minutes to play around with Relic's sound setup, and hopefully the audio issues are currently in a much better state. Hopefully there's no distortion and stuff, so let me know that that's kind of sounding good or better on your end, and I'll continue to try and do some things for tomorrow as well. So yeah, but like today we've got we're going to be doing a little interview for Jesulin and DEVM because of course they are playing the Warpaint Championship Finals tomorrow. That's at 11 AM PDT, 6 PM GMT, and 7 PM BST. I said that right. And yeah, like it's going to be a really intense game. Like we're all here kind of just getting to know each other at the moment, but there's not actually too much tension between you guys yet. No, there's not.
They're too nice.
You're too nice to each other. We haven't had any fights or fisticuffs at the moment, which is like, yeah, I'm aware. By the way, you can only see a little bit of my face, but that's good, right? You get to see these. These are the focus.
The stars.
Yeah, guys, today the stars here. So yeah, fantastic. So yeah, let's have a look.
What if you put the monitor back? Would that then zoom out more?
We can play around with it. I think if we all moved back, there's no reason we need to be in this little group here. And
the cables are quite long, aren't they?
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me, to be honest. Like we can see you guys. I'll be the off-on host. So slap him in the face, we're being told. You guys want to have a little rough up on Twitch just for some pre-drama? No, okay. So anyway, let's discuss what's going on and what's happened so far, and also kind of what to expect tomorrow. So let's start off with Jesulin. Your kind of run through the tournament. We want to know how your games went, how you feel you performed throughout, like who your feared opponents were. How's it gone for you so far?
Well, I did a very well tournament, winning good players like Bonasten, Wolf, Barton PL, and also Bonaivan in the third position game. I lost versus DEVM, and I think I did a good tournament.
Yeah. And that was because you guys have obviously played each other already. And what was the game like that time that you played in the semi-finals?
We played several games, but I feel so bad playing versus DEVM because he is a better player than me right now.
Oh, he's too nice, this Jesulin.
Maybe it's just like a false sense of security. It is like, oh yeah, I'll let him feel easy.
Yeah, so of course one of the big games of the tournament so far for you was the rematch against Barton.
Yes.
Which sorry, I'm just going to keep try to keep it relatively close.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it's like this, we'll lose it. So yeah, like one of the big grudge matches was Barton, and of course that was absolutely fantastic. The last time that we saw this big matchup was ESL. Barton just managing to kind of clutch that victory right at the last second, and you had a lot to prove. And it was great. It was great to see you win it, to be honest. It wasn't a game that we casted initially, was it? I don't know. No, but I think it was up on the recast. And yeah, I mean, how did that game go for you? And kind of, did you really feel the pressure to win there? Were you worried the same thing?
Well, it was the second game of the series after losing my first game. And I felt very good, but I started losing units in the mid game. And then I tried to recover with an M36 Jackson versus his King Tiger.
Oh, right, okay. So he went to King Tiger. You
and the drama final of the VPs was just insane.
Who had faction selection for Game 3? So what was the...
I guess I pick...
Oh, you had the faction selection. Yeah. Do you think
but
that
I'm not sure.
Do you think that played like a big part in being able to secure Game 3, was having faction selection on your side?
Yeah.
So obviously that was the game previous to you playing DEVM, wasn't it? And then like your journey through the rest of the tournament, obviously the issues with Nagano and you slip up to second after beating and beating Von Ivan may be an understatement. Really.
It wasn't close, was it?
It wasn't close. Like you did really well against Von Ivan, and how was that matchup for you? Because obviously that was your chance to come to Vancouver. Were you especially pumped for that game?
It was a little easier because Von Ivan did a lot of mistakes, stupid mistakes. Probably because he was nervous.
It's funny because obviously he knocked Jove out of the tournament in what was an incredible surprise, really. Not for any. I mean, Von Ivan's an incredible player, but it was kind of like, wow, Jove's out of the tournament. Von Ivan's done it, but the next game was really it was underwhelming in that sense. To see that, but of course, so that's your journey to the finals at the moment. And DEVM, let's talk about your return to professional Ko2 esports.
Oh yeah.
So, what were the games like for you? Like, who in your brackets were you maybe a little bit scared of? Maybe thinking I had to be careful. Did you even think I have to be careful?
I think that for me it was just Theodosius that was worrying me the most. Because of my practice with Theodosius, I was pretty sure that he was going to beat Love Nest, so I was kind of looking out for him. And I think that for the rest of the bracket, after Theodosius, I wasn't too nervous because I was going to play either Barton or Jesulin, and Barton, I didn't practice against him, but I don't think that I have ever lost to Barton in kind of a competitive match. And as for Jesulin, since I screamed with him so much, I think that I didn't go too nervous because I knew what I was going to expect.
Yeah. We were discussing earlier as well, of course, so the whole philosophy of practicing with a lot of opponents that you come up against in the tournament scene, and how that's obviously affected you. It affected you with Helping Hands, because of course during ESL you practice together. Helping Hands famously denies your sniper with the constant free recon from the Brits.
Yeah.
And suddenly everything started going wrong. So as you say, you and Jesulin have played a lot of games together, and I think you were taking games off of each other. You were you can't quite say it's a clean streak or anything like that. So Jesulin has beaten you in the past, and so how are you feeling like that? Do you feel like you guys are kind of in tune with each other's strategies at the moment? Is it just going to be a kind of case of who has the more intensive, more focused strategy on the day, or are you going to be throwing in some surprises?
I can't speak for Jesulin, but as for me, I'm probably going to play what I usually played against him before. So if the track record continues, probably yeah.
So this is funny because it's such a bold statement. It's I'm going to play what we've been practicing.
Well, I think DEVM's always been a player that your strategies aren't very creative. They're not very imaginative, but they're executed so brilliantly and so finessely that it's really interesting to watch, and definitely exciting to see in action. And we were talking earlier as well about how you only play Wehrmacht and Ostia. Your entire faction
Soviets
pool
and Ostia.
is what?
Wehrmacht and Ostia are the same.
Is that what I said? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Rather, Wehrmacht and US, of course.
Yes.
Those are two factions that you play. Whereas Jesulin has a much bigger faction pool. He plays all five. I don't think you've played Brits in tournaments before, though. Is that right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, just so you can hear it. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to personally is seeing Jesulin pull out these different factions. And so, do you think that are you worried that you're a little bit inflexible since you only have two factions that you can really play? And I think it's fine with US because US are very strong, and I wouldn't say you really need to play the other allied factions, but we were saying earlier that on Kolodny in particular, where the sniper is much weaker and Wehrmacht are very reliant on their sniper, that you don't have access to OKWs, you're not really confident with them. Are you worried that you've kind of shoehorned yourself into only playing Wehrmacht?
I think that because of the veto system in tourneys, it isn't that bad. But I think that because I was kind of expecting a scenario where I could have those maps that aren't like particularly good for Austere. I practiced especially those maps in case they do appear.
Right. Okay. That's very important.
Yeah, so if I know that those maps might come up, my training especially is for those maps, because then I'm not worried about the other ones.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well. Yeah. Jesulin, how do you feel? Do you feel confident that you have a wider variety of strategies and factions that you can pull off on different maps?
Yes, but as we all know, with versus DEVM is so difficult
Yeah.
to do these kind of strategies, because he always try to do the same, and it's very difficult to try to adapt to these things.
Yeah. I think you need to be angrier. You need to just get really angry,
I'm not that
and
angry.
that will improve your chances.
No. I prefer to be shy and just play.
Yeah.
I think we're being hustled. Personally, I think it's an act.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think he's
ruse.
acting, and then he's gonna stand up during the
No.
tournament and be like, "Yes,
Yeah.
you lose."
This is of course our
No.
first time meeting Jesulin, so like secretly he could be a very angry person,
It's- yeah.
and we have no idea.
We know so little.
Yeah.
it's an unread book there.
But on that topic, I think it's quite interesting. Is like what's your how do you deal with emotion, and like how do you keep your focus and keep your calm when playing in a tournament setting, which can be quite stressful? If you lose a match, like how do you prepare yourself for the next one?
I try to forget the last game and just focus in the next one.
Yeah, so you just try to clear your head. You don't try to think too much about your mistakes. You just want to move on from it and start again on a clean slate.
Yep.
Okay, what about you, DEVM? Because I think that's a really interesting question. Because for anyone that's played in a tournament, you know how nervous you can get. You can get the butterflies. It's a very different experience to playing on ladder. And so I recommend people should play in tournaments, even if they're not very good. It's still a really fun learning experience. So how do you manage your emotions and keep your calm under pressure?
Well, being nervous doesn't help like your gameplay at all.
Yeah.
So I know that my opponent is nervous too, so I just kind of try to keep my levels down. I know that if I stay calm, I'm just not going to do any mistakes. And as for if I lose the game, I just try to come into a game as if it was a best of one individually.
Right.
So
you don't actually play for VPs then, in terms of the faction selection?
no, I don't play for VPs at all. I even I think it was Amy that was casting the game against, what was it, Theodosis, I'm not sure who it was, and he was talking how I didn't go for the VPs, but I just prefer going for the resources and securing the win than just thinking of, oh, I might need the VPs later to have faction choice, which is another thing, because I only play 2 factions, it doesn't matter if you as faction choice, because if I'm comfortable in both of those factions, I don't care what he picks, because...
So you wouldn't care if in a tie, if you went to either US or Vermont?
Yes,
it wouldn't bother
exactly.
you.
That's also
even despite how much everyone says that US is so dominant.
yes. That's the main idea of having 2 factions. You just playing 2 factions, because even if he has a choice, then it doesn't matter, because I'm going to be comfortable with the place I'm in anyways.
Okay.
So yeah.
This is a good question for Jesulin. Would you rather have allies or Axis in the tiebreaker?
Well, in my case, I prefer to play as Axis.
Really?
I prefer Overcommando. It can sound a bit a stupid idea, but I feel stronger than playing as allies.
That actually is really welcoming to hear, isn't it, Stormless? Because everyone always
Yeah.
goes on about how OP allies are.
I think, from a personal perspective as well, OKW feel great in 1v1 at the moment. I think because you almost get everything in tier 1 that you need to deal with game, you get your infantry and you can get your machine gun once you tech.
Yeah,
you get
call in
you get
infantry
your
as well.
AT, do you know what I mean? There really shouldn't be anything once you've gone battle grouper that you don't have available to deal with threats. So it can be quite good. I think I've seen a lot of people play Volk's heavy strategies and stuff. So it doesn't particularly surprise me to kind of hear you say that. Of course, though, there are some maps where you can get brutal situations for OKW.
Like what?
But I think any maps that are quite kind of closed with corridors. So again, Kolodny Firma's one where you've got natural hedgerows where mortars can fire quite deep into your territory, and they're quite protected from that state that they're in. And sometimes ISGs and things just don't they don't really compare in that sense because they don't fire in the same way. Do you know what I mean? They don't almost like drop in the same way. So the mortar almost like can overshot the hedgerows, whereas the ISG sometimes doesn't get that kind of it doesn't kind of get the drop right. So the
trajectory.
The trajectory. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Yeah. So like almost the ISG doesn't quite manage to hit over the hedge in the same way. Like
so Jesulin, if you're playing OKW, what maps do you want?
Well, Colony Ferma can be a good choice, because last time that I played versus DEVM, I picked on that map Oster, and I didn't feel so comfortable than playing as Overcommando.
I think it's because the sniper isn't very good on Kolodny.
I am not a good sniper user.
Yeah.
I hate snipers.
DEVM is a good sniper user, we know that.
DEVM is the best playing with snipers.
Yeah.
On this game.
Yeah.
That's a big, because like there's a lot of people that do play, like Love Nest play sniper very well.
But I think nobody can try to win DEVM with snipers.
Yeah. So whilst we talk about like strategies, so I think we discussed a little bit before. Like we're happy with talking about some strategies that are going on. Like both players are incredibly confident about their strategies. DEVM's has gone as far as saying, you know exactly what I'm going to be playing. Like try and deal with it, kind of thing. So I mean, starting with like what I recall of DEVM's games is a very strong medium vehicle and light vehicle combination. That's what I'd call
You're
it.
referring to US? Or?
For the US, really. We usually see, like, I'm going to say an AA flak track, and then, you know what I mean, and then that kind of works into maybe a Stuart if he's attacking out. But what are your kind of powerhouse strategies that you want to use for US? Like, where do you feel the power lies with them at the moment?
I think that the strength of the US was always like how you can snowball the game, because you can get the vehicles earlier. So if you get that first advantage and then just don't let your opponent do his thing, and then you keep on attacking and getting the vehicles even earlier, and basically your opponent, if US is played well, he can't keep up with the timings of the vehicles, and that's how I play around with US mostly.
Especially since you go for the cutoffs to try to delay their vehicles even further. Yes,
exactly, and basically try to make the window of opportunity of my vehicles even larger by doing that.
Are you worried more when you're playing that kind of strategy? Are you worried more about Austere or OKW? Because of course, the way I always see it is OKW has access to AT a lot earlier. So any like light vehicle rushes have the potential to come across a mine Raketten combination. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing is dangerous. And then of course, if you're not going to be pushing with those units, is there a chance, for instance, that you can be overwhelmed, the heavy Volks build with a Raketten? Does that kind of threaten your early game with USF?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's more difficult to kind of extend like the windows of opportunity of the vehicles with OKW, because they can get like the Raketten Warfare out earlier. And the thing is that it's like a trade-off, because OKW can get that earlier, but Austere has the 222, which is a mobile one, mobile like counter. So like Austere has a more difficult time to deal with the vehicles earlier, but because it has a mobile AT, I guess mobile counter, it's better for them like later on. It's like a trade-off, I guess.
So it's kind of like the lesser two evils there, that OKW may be able to deal with it. You actually think they're easier maybe later in the game.
But what about the pack versus Raketten as far as dealing with that for US players' vehicles?
I guess it's more annoying to deal with the Raketten Warfare, just because you can get invisible, and it isn't always easy to see where they are like hiding in. So I guess I'd rather prefer play against Raketten Warfare than the pack than Raketten Warfare. So they are really annoying.
So of course the second one is for Jesulin. He's going to need the mic.
Thank you.
DEVMs want to clutch onto it. So yeah, the second one for you is I mean, some of your strategies. Your favorite faction at the moment is OKW, and
Yep.
a lot of people, I think, because I think you have to have a certain play style to be kind of successful with OKW at the moment. Do you feel like they're quite limited into the amount of strategies they can do? Do you?
Yes, you can only use Jaeger's infantry.
Mhm.
I don't remember that. Dot commander.
Scavenge.
Scavenger. Yeah,
Mm.
that one.
Yeah.
Without that commander, you are kaput.
Yeah.
Do you think that's mainly for the Call and Oswind or for the Jaegers themselves?
Jaegers are good versus infantry because you know that critical
Yeah.
is so powerful, and also the Oswin is very good.
Mm. Oh, we saw that game. I think you played against Von Ivan.
Yeah.
The build was actually, it took us by surprise because of the double Ostwind.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely brilliant. That double Ostwind, I think Jagdpanzer 4 was the other
Yep.
choice to King Tiger. It was the actual late game build was phenomenal though, because you actually had everything you really needed in that build, and it kind of took you up to 100 or 90 whatever pop cap really nicely. So it was a really nice build. Do you find there are weaknesses using OKW on more open, like, you know, that one was...
Well, you can make mistakes, and if you lose an unit, an infantry unit, you are so kaput again.
Yep.
Because it's not the same that losing a rifleman than a pulse grenadier with a lot of veterancy.
Mm. So that's a really interesting point as well, because with all respect to DEVM, you do lose a lot of units. I've definitely spotted this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of squads will go down, and somehow you're actually maintaining this front line a little bit. So do you find like when you lose units, you feel more punished for that?
Yes,
And is there like
absolutely.
do you feel more punished with Axis or allies? Is there a difference with that, or is it just a mentality that's the same for everything?
Well,
Mm.
it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it's not the same that losing a Noswin
Mm.
than an infantry with veterancy, as
Yeah.
I said to you before.
Well, let's also discuss RNG, because we had a little talk about this as well before. And RNG is something that is heavily implemented into the multiplayer of the game. Something that you have to learn to cope with, and something that you have to learn to predict. So, when it comes down to RNG, is there a specific unit that you'll kind of utilize to bring that more into the game, or do you have any kind of almost like advice strategies to help people mitigate and like reduce RNG effects on you?
Well, they should try to play more defensive without risk,
Mhm.
because you know, Companion Heroes is a fantastic game, but with these things makes people hate the game.
Mm.
So my recommendation is that they need to play more defensive and take risks.
Yeah. So do you feel like it's a gamble when you go into some engagements?
Yes.
You're kind of just picking the right time to gamble and do that. Okay. What about UDEVM? So obviously, how do you try and reduce the flow of kind of RNG? Is there any particular tricks you do maybe to stop mortar wipes,
Mhm.
or do you know, are there any kind of sneaky little things like that kind of keep you on top of everyone else?
I think that what I do to reduce kind of the RNG of the games is to try more or less to analyze what my opponent has on the field and where it is, because if you go into an engagement and like if you are just expecting a 1v1 with a tank, you can easily control like a bad outcome, like not penetrating.
Mm.
But because if you don't have information on your opponent, for example, and you have that bad RNG, but then you didn't know that there was an Itiga nearby, for example, then that bad RNG can turn into a much worse scenario for you. That's what I'm trying to say. And so basically when I do the risks I do that involve many times a lot of luck involved, I try to have the most information I can gather before doing them.
So kind of your advice for someone who is perhaps blaming RNG on certain situations?
Yeah, that's mostly my advice, yeah. And keeping in mind that it might not go as you plan.
Very learn to play in your...
Yeah, it's a bit learn to play, yeah.
Well, it is, at the end of the day, like that is part of what you're doing in the game. Is you're trying to. It's realistic. It's based on realism. So you're trying to you're trying to manage those situations. So, and I guess like I say, same for you as well.
I had a question going a bit back and forwards, but something that I really want to talk about is the mobile defense commander. It seems to be regarded as being kind of essential in the mid game because of the Puma, but in the late game it falls off. But I don't think it's actually that bad late game because you have the smoke, the Panzer Tactician, you have the command Panzer IV, which is really strong. Do you think that the mobile defense commander really does fall off, and if you have to lock it in, then you're disadvantaged in the late game? Well, you're the Wehrmacht player, I guess, for both of you.
I think that it falls off a bit. I think that the main strength of that commander is, for example, I think the Puma, like Austere lacks a mobile AT like before tier 3, and it comes in with the timing of that T70, for example. So I think the strength of the commander is keeping up with your opponent and not letting any advantage that you have slide off just because you got a T70 out.
Yeah.
I guess that's the strength of the commander lies there in mid game. Late game it's not bad, but it's just that if you could mitigate the damage that the T70 does, it's better to have that, for example, a Tiger. So most of the time, if you pick that commander, you want to close out the game before.
Yeah, I guess that's why mechanized is so popular, because you can get the Stuggy, but then you still have the Tiger in the late game. But I believe that the Puma's 5 command points, right? And the
it comes
Stuggy is
earlier.
7, so it's a bit harder timing.
There are
6,
scenarios where you use one or another, but in a perfect scenario, you want to use the Stuggy commander just because it has a Tiger for later on.
Yeah, or Lightning War for the strafe. What do you think, Jesulin, about mobile defense?
Well, it's a good commander, and also Ostrupens are good if they come with LMGs.
I believe it's 20% chance per squad.
Right. Okay.
So you can get both if you're lucky, but most of the time you'll get one or none.
Yes,
Right.
and as DEVM said before, you can counter T70 from the Soviets and also the Stuart from the USF.
And is it timed with the Stuart?
It depends on how aggressive the game is, because it's 5 command points. So sometimes if there's no action, then you'll have like 2 or 3 command points. But if there's a lot of action, you'll have maybe 7 command points.
Right. Okay. So I mean, yeah, it's mobile defense is. I think everyone would class it as a necessity for Austin. I don't really see many people load in without it. But what other commanders like? Do you think there's any specifically underrated commanders that people maybe aren't using that are, are there any kind of hidden things there that are really effective?
I don't know. Probably Partisan from Soviets is a good commander.
Yeah.
And people don't usually use it.
Oh, we've seen that work really well, actually.
Yeah, you go your heavy penals, and then you have the partisan tank hunters work very well, and then the regular partisans against snipers on retreat are very effective as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those famously, I think a lot of people have been using partisans on Faymanville approach. And I think it may have been a game that you played before, actually, when people either go tier 4 for the Katusha, or maybe they've got like Axis artillery's firing. And whenever you raining down in the center of a map like Faymanville, where typically, those long-range units are landing in the middle, you get medium cover everywhere. So the partisans are constantly stealthed, no matter where you go. Like, they're always stealthed, and you'll always be getting like the right pickups and things. So, yeah, I mean, that's another interesting one there. Let me have a look.
Maybe we should ask DEVM if he thinks of any underrated commanders.
Let me have a look at this quickly. Why isn't the cam stretched to the full size of the screen? Well, basically, I had about 5-10 minutes to just play around and fix the audio issues that were on the computer, and we pretty much installed the webcam just a moment before launching. So it's something that I will make sure is changed, but at the moment we're stuck with the little box. You guys don't need to see me anyway. You've got Jesulin and DEVM to look at here.
Yeah, DEVM, what do you think is an underrated commander or unit for any faction?
I guess it depends of if you're playing team games or not, but
1v1 I was referring to.
Alright, so in 1v1 I think that the US commander, for example, with the Jeep is a bit underrated.
The Dodge truck.
Yeah. Because you can snowball the games right from the beginning if you play it well. It's really hard to keep up with the Rifleman and Jeep in the early game.
Yep.
So I think that's one of them. As for Austere, maybe the what is it called, the Lightning War one with the G43s.
Yeah.
And I've not seen many people use it as much as the other ones. And I think that it really is good with the Tiger and having the ability that costs 200 munitions.
Yeah, for the strafe is really strong.
Yeah, and
So strong.
it's
It
good to have
actually-
that support for the
It
Tiger.
has a chance to get damage crits as well. It's
I'm always
strong.
quite surprised. I don't know if you've used Encirclement Doctrine for Austere.
What's that one?
Right,
The-
so
the,
this is probably one that you
Stormtroopers.
would love, because Encirclement, so 0 CP, you unlock Sprint. So your units can all sprint, including the sniper. You have the sprint ability. You've then got you can spend 40 fuel and have any of your vehicles decap territory. You then spend 80 munitions to have a kind of light Stuka strike that denies resource points and strategic points, so you instantly like cut off that area of the map. And then there's like it goes up until you get Close the Pocket, which is ridiculous. I'm surprised you've never seen this. Close
Yeah,
the
I've
Pocket
never.
is like you disconnect territories, and any disconnected territory from your opponent's base is bombarded with every type of artillery that exists in the game, like Ju-87, Stuka strikes, light mortars, like a light artillery, like everything you could possibly think of. Like it's huge. But I'm surprised. Like I would honestly have thought that would be your, you know what I mean, go-to.
You have some great
commander.
videos on your channel of
Yeah.
Close the Pocket highlights.
They're all just troll videos. Yeah,
On the
unfortunately.
subject of mechanized, I think mechanized is actually a really great commander because the artillery strike, it takes an OKW building to about 20% health. So you can nuke a battle group or a Panzer headquarters with the 155 mil and 2 or 3 Sherman shots. It's a very deadly commander against OKW.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we actually have seen US players use it pretty effectively against OKW. I feel like against Wehrmacht you don't have the use from the howitzer though, so it's not very good against Wehrmacht.
Yeah, it isn't.
Yeah.
Do you have any use for the withdraw and refit? Do you ever use that at all?
Refit, I don't think I've ever used that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's a missed trick there. I would have thought you're the kind of person that instantly trades the Jeep because you get all your resources back. Like
Yeah, I know, like, but it depends if it has veterancy, I guess, because the unit then it's more valuable,
Right.
and you don't want to lose it. Yeah.
Oh, like fair enough. So with tomorrow, we had a little bit of a thing. We've done another interview basically as well. So earlier we had talked about some different things. But your predictions for tomorrow, like how confident are you both feeling about the games tomorrow? And just out of just to remind everyone who's here at the moment, games tomorrow. No, you can see me now. Games tomorrow, 11 a.m. PDT. 6 p.m. GMT and 7 p.m. BST. So that is going to be when the finals start tomorrow. It's a best of 5 games, and we're going to be casting here from Relic HQ in Vancouver. So yeah, I mean, how are you feeling about it?
I mean, I haven't been practicing as much as I did for the initial rounds of the tourney, I guess. But I'm hoping I can keep the same kind of track record that I did against Jesulin in North Scrims and translate that into the finals, I guess.
Well, in my case, as I said before to you, I'm the underdog of the final. He's the favorite to win the tournament. He wants me in the semifinal in the semifinals. So I think he has more pressure than me of
Yeah.
winning this tournament.
Was it 2-1 the semi-finals or was it 2-0?
2-0.
2-0.
Yep.
Ooh.
So we had a little BM going on earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if you we had a little BM. So Jesulin, we've just met Jesulin today. He's really nice and kind of calm. DEVM has he's a real bad guy. He's a real baddie. we asked them to both
Crafting the narrative.
We asked them to both say one thing to each other that would kind of just define, give your opponent a message tomorrow. Jesulin's was just like, let's have a good game, have fun. DEVM's was, just try and make it more than 3 games, yeah. So maybe we'll give you another chance. Is there anything you want to say? Maybe you can maybe you could say something mean.
No, the same as you say.
See, we can't get Jesulin to have any BM whatsoever. But DEVM, do you wanna
Maybe if
do
we
you wanna
like
go
get
up
him
a
drunk
level?
later, he'll like we'll uncover his inner dark secrets.
Yeah, we'll get a couple of drinks
Yeah.
after this, and then just like see what happens. The other thing I want to say is show everyone the hoodies that we've got.
Sorry?
Stand up and show everyone the hoodies that we have.
Ah, this
Yeah.
one.
So we've been given. I'll hold this for you. We've been given these, which are absolutely great. And
There's a
I'm
few
not
things we
sure
got.
if have a look at the back as well. So I mean, I don't know if these are part of what is in the competition, like the war paint designs.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is one of them, but this kind of stuff is going to be coming out as part of the competitions as well. So these are really cool designs.
I
We're all
like how
wearing
it
them
says
at
that
the
we're
moment.
a war paint champion, and like we're casters, so like we're not the champions,
Yeah,
are we?
it says champion here, so we're feeling feeling good. Here we go. Look, he's got the propaganda comments there as well. So yeah, I mean, do we have anything else?
Nothing else really, apart from the questions that we have we already asked them. I mean, how are we going for time?
Well, we're 10 to 3 at the moment.
Okay, and it's supposed to go to 3?
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
Carl said go as long as we wanted.
Because I think there was
but,
actually a couple of questions that we
Marcus is
didn't
let's
ask.
why don't we ask the people on the chat?
Yeah,
If,
that's
so
a good
yeah,
point.
guys on chat, feel free to get involved. We're of course going to include you guys now. So if you want to ask a question to DEVM or Jesulin, or even us, if you feel that's necessary, then
Well, I have a good question.
tag at Relic Entertainment in the chat. I'll try and get through any questions that are reasonable and as many as possible. So feel free to ask whatever you want.
So this one's to DevM. Do you think you could take Stormless and myself in a 2v1?
Probably not. If it was Company of Heroes 1, I would
Oh!
be confident.
We should do this. We should actually do this later.
But Company of Heroes 2, no, I don't think so.
I've got actually good question. Is who would you prefer on a 2v2 team if you were playing versus Jesulin? Would you pick me or would you pick?
I think I'd pick Stormless.
Yes.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow, that's
That is the answer I was
rough.
looking for.
we're
Here we
with
go.
you, I think.
Theodosius, no, I'm not standing. I can stand up. These comments, honestly. How do you guys feel about the stun grenade? The stun grenade. I don't think the stun grenade is bugged, is it? Because the stun grenade stops the unit from retreating. Now that's not a bug, is it? That's.
I don't know if it's a bug or not, but I feel like it's not a very fair ability.
It's quite it's difficult because if someone does retreat from the grenade and it does stun them, the retreat stops. And,
Yeah.
it's possible to get wipes that way. But as far as I knew, it wasn't really.
I think it's actually an interesting question though. Is DevM, you only seem to play KO2 when there are tournaments with big prizes, whereas Jesulin's the opposite. He plays in every tournament. Why do you only play, like in tournaments when there's big prizes? Like, do you? I guess it's a pretty self-explanatory question.
Well, yes, I guess the money is one of the components, but the other part is that I like being as competitive as possible, and since Company of Heroes 2 community is a bit small, I guess, when there aren't tourneys around, you just can't find anyone good in auto match. So until then, I'd just rather stick to League of Legends and try to get to the top of the ladder there.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
You heard it, guys. None of you are good in auto match from the mouth of DevM.
Maybe someone should prove him wrong.
we're hoping.
That's
We're hoping that it's
basically
going to be
it's a
Jesulin.
challenge being sent out.
Trick says, when do you think we will get new 1v1 maps in rotation? I don't really think that's something we can ask. Do you know when we're going to get 1v1 maps in rotation?
Well, actually,
they don't know.
I believe Kyle has mentioned this earlier. Is what they plan on doing is, like, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, is what they plan on rotating the map pool
Yeah.
off of community content maps, which is actually really cool because I know recently we've had like Crossroads and some really great maps come in. So
I definitely think there's and also there was I believe discussion of some old maps that will be returning.
Don River?
So I don't know if Don River should ever return, but there are some good like Eindhoven and stuff were very good. So we'll see about that. Sturm Tiger Alastor says, will there still be tournaments as ESL? That is nothing. I don't think that anything like that is confirmed or mentioned at the moment. There's still going to be tournaments.
Actually,
there's still planned
I mean, didn't Carl
tournaments.
mention that there's going to be a tournament down the line?
I don't know
Nagano?
if it's run by ESL though.
Oh,
I'm
it
not
won't
sure.
be ESL,
Yeah,
but
so
there are more tournaments
and
confirmed.
that's something that obviously we have to just say as well, is because this year, and we said actually since for instance OCF through ESL, this is a huge year for Company of Heroes because there has been more money coming out through tournaments, big prizes as well, throughout the whole year. So that there's going to be loads more tournaments, and I think like the crowdfunding of Warpaint Championship has worked really well.
It's very self-sustainable, isn't it?
It is, because everybody was getting, they're getting the skins, they're getting new bulletins that will come out. Do you know what I mean? And there was something for everybody. You're already getting your money's worth, and then there's the whole tournament as well.
I actually realized we didn't ask these players. What's your favorite Warpaint skin?
I don't pay much attention to those, so maybe Jesulin should answer.
All right, Jesulin, do you have a favorite Warpaint skin?
Okay, so in my case, I really like the British one.
The British one?
The Vickers.
Yes.
Vickers, yeah.
No, the skins.
Oh, the skins.
Yes, the British red ones.
Right, okay.
The red ones,
Yeah.
the fantasy ones. Is
Yeah.
that, oh, okay, they're the new ones.
They are
that-
so cool.
Yeah. Do you know, a lot of people will disagree. Like, on
Yeah.
that. It's like,
Yes, because
yeah.
they
but
only like historical skins.
I'm a massive fan of the wood, the wood style ones for the Brits. Do you know that they're like?
Yeah.
I think they're really nice. That one. Have you already answered a question on that? Favorite? Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't a very exciting answer.
This is a question for DEVM from Theodosis. DEVM, you didn't participate in many ESLs. Why was that?
I'm not sure when, I think ESLs run in time that I'm in university, I think it was that, and I don't have much time to play. So basically, I usually have pure performances, and many times I'm just like, I don't want to play because I know I'm going to look bad. So, so basically I didn't play in many ESLs because of that.
You played in the third one, though, didn't you? The third one.
Yeah, I'm not sure the months I played. I played like 3 ESL.
Because I know, because you originally played in the NA and we casted it.
Yeah, I originally played in NA because I couldn't play earlier, so I just had to sign up for the NA one.
Yeah.
Another question is: are there any maps that you two have kind of provisionally veto? I mean, the vetoes happen tomorrow, so I don't think there's anything. But are there any maps that you're looking forward to? I don't know if I understand this question. Is this related to the tournament tomorrow, or just tell us the rework of that question, and I'll ask that. Let's see. Okay. Oh, so Marcus is asking if we've had a chance to see Dawn of War 3.
We did.
So yeah, we've actually played Dawn of War 3 today. I know you said earlier about it. I mean, like, I actually really enjoyed it. Like, it was nothing like it looked on YouTube and Twitch. I actually said, like, it looks very cartoony on the internet. It's actually not. It's not like that.
It still has the cartoony art style, but
yeah, but it's not like as fluffy.
It's a lot prettier than what I thought initially looking at the footage, the trailers. Like the sound.
The sound's phenomenal.
Yeah, the sound's really nice. Where like the footage I saw, like the sounds, they didn't sound very nice. But yeah, I liked it. It was actually a lot more reminiscent of DAO 1 than I originally I thought it was. Like the listening posts, and you have to capture listening posts, and you build the.
I think it's like the base building was, and people had described it as like a little bit of a merger of Dawn of War 1 and 2.
I don't think it has any DAO 2 elements at all, though.
Well,
what does it have from DAO 2?
No, I mean just like because you're not necessarily building the and teching and like upgrades and so on. Do you know what I mean? Like the units are available based on the resources, and it's like the drop zone, the drop pods and things. So it was anyway. That's Dawn of War 3 was very interesting to play. Let's see. Question to Jesulin. After losing to DEVM recently, and quite comprehensively, he says, have you prepared any particular strategies for this final series against him?
Well, I watched the replays twice or 3 times, but I guess I did very well against him, but I didn't have luck in some crucial moments. I still remember that in game 1, he rushed with a Sherman all my units. Yes, and it was insane, and I couldn't do anything. And also in the second game, I put a teller on the mid VP on Colony Ferma, and his M20 was very near, and it didn't explode.
The worst feeling, isn't
Yes,
it?
but
So
in
you really-
general, he deserved to win that
Yeah.
series.
Was the teller on the road?
Yeah,
Because I find a lot of the times you're better off putting mines off the road. Because good players are just like, I won't drive on that road. There's obviously a mine there.
yes, but I still remember that I had an MG on the charge. Do you remember? And I was rotating the MG, and usually every player, unless you, DEVM, you always try to be near the MG
Yeah, yeah.
in the retreat path.
Yeah.
But he avoided the mine.
So it's unlucky. Camille says, what time does the Warpaint Championship final start? It's tomorrow, 11 a.m. PDT, 6 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. BST. Trick. Yes, that is actually some of what is going to.
I believe Kyle actually confirmed in the chat that there should be more community maps rotated in.
I'm just having a look. Prodiggly says pie or cake.
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 Yeah, same cake.
Cake. It's cake. Definitely.
And that's a pretty vague question though,
cake-
because like, what kind of cake?
Cake
What
is-
kind of pie?
Well,
Oh,
that's for you
cake.
to decide.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
but,
there it is.
But I
Well-
mean, what if it's like a really unpleasant type of cake?
Well, we don't know that, do we?
Like
If
if it's-
Prodiggly should have added that into the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Will there be new commanders? That's it's kind of a question for Kyle. Kyle's in chat. It's nothing that we know about. Try and keep any questions kind of Warpaint focused as well.
Stuff that we can answer as non-relic employees as well.
Yep. Talisman says DevM will go hard. He's my boy. That's nice support there. Will both of the finalists plan on continuing their tournament participation in Company of Heroes after the tournament?
For me, probably not. It depends, because it's really hard to play Company of Heroes 2 on my laptop, so that's kind of a thing. Like, Company of Heroes needs a good PC to run. And
Well,
League
you'll
of
have
Legends
one now.
doesn't.
You may be able to afford that.
I do have one, but it's not like I live
Right.
in Aveiro, but still on Porto. My desktop PC is in Aveiro, so yeah.
Right, okay.
Because
what
you're
about
studying,
you?
you said that you can't use your laptop when you're at like school. Because
I do have to use my laptop. That's the thing. I can't use my desktop.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, I am going to continue playing this game. Probably I'm going to play more team games with my friends.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
4 versus 4, because it's a fun game mode,
Yep, yep.
but I prefer 1v1.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. So 4v4 is officially not safe when this tournament finishes. We're going to have DevM
Well, we had Marcus ask us about the future of Code 2. We're actually meeting the Relic devs after, like the Relic team. So no, we haven't really met them. We've only met Kyle, and we haven't had a chance to talk to them. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll get some info
I think
afterwards.
as well, because I mean, it's very difficult to say, because again, like, you know, what we see here is not necessarily all relatable.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, do you know what I mean? That's a difficult one to answer. What factions do Jesulin and DevM feel is the weakest to play in the tournament right now?
Well, it depends the map, but in general, the worst faction to play is British, because it's so slow in the start, but when the games go, it feels stronger.
Right.
Into
Okay.
late game, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So you feel okay, and
I think that the worst one is probably Austria, honestly.
Whoa.
Yeah, because you really have to get the right maps for them to be really good.
Then why not play OKW?
OKW is a thing that faction. I mean, that doesn't kind of fit my playstyle. I guess I don't know. Like I don't like the faction that much. It feels bland.
Right.
Yes, and since I also like to use the sniper a lot, and OKW obviously doesn't have a sniper, I just prefer to stick with Austria and try to keep the faction afloat by good sniper play.
right, okay. Right, let's see what more we've got.
thoughts on DAO 3 as an esport? We played the campaign. We played a one mission of the campaign. So until we actually play multiplayer, no idea.
It was a demo.
Yeah, it was a demo. It was the campaign. So no idea. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I think like the main thing we took from it though is that it looked a lot better than actually what we'd seen online already.
Yeah,
You know, like
I definitely enjoyed it, but personally, I mean, I'm a multiplayer guy. I don't really care much about the single player,
Yeah.
so until I get my hands on the multiplayer, I don't know. It's really hard to talk about. I'd love to do some shoutcasts for it, like early on.
Oh, this question is great. Did you guys like Eindhoven Country? It was one of my favourites. I thought we were getting it back after some change. I think that's still on the cards. What
I hope
Doth
so.
Life? Yeah, I believe those maps are still due their return. Are they sharing a room? No, they're
We
not
are.
sharing a room. We're sharing a room. Me
It's
and
a very
Gigi
nice one as well.
are sharing a room.
Kappa Pride.
Yeah, Kappa. Like there we go. Let's see. There are a lot.
Yes,
of
there's always
questions.
stupid questions. Well, welcome to Twitch, Jesulin.
Apparently, Jesulin's new to this. When is the final? So again, just to confirm with everyone, finals 11 a.m. PDT, 6 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. BST.
Stormless wins the final.
Shut up. How many hours of practice a week for this tournament? Is that? Do you do a lot of practice? What's your?
I actually didn't practice much for this weekend, to be honest, because the classes started, so I didn't have much.
Devm's
Opportunity.
ego is huge, by the way. Like every question is just, no, I don't really practice. Like I don't really feel like I need to. It's
Well, he's prioritizing his university over Company of Heroes, so
Oh,
you
well,
can't blame him for that.
that's a mistake, I think.
Jesulin?
Well, in my case, I played a lot of more before the finals.
Yeah.
Because now to be here is for me it's like a prize.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I think it's important. I played to be in general in a good state.
Yeah.
But I don't mind.
Yeah.
So Jesulin's got more
So
practice than what DevM does, so that could be interesting.
Skip past that one. Who is the better rapper?
I don't
Just like
I don't like rap.
Don't do it. Yeah, there we go.
But I like to listen rap music.
Yeah, okay. What Doth Life wants some hype? He wants some hype for tomorrow. So I mean,
We'll bring the hype. So that's our job. We're the hype.
We're the hype. But I mean, we already know this is going to be an insane game. Like it's going to be good. There's a lot of, as I say, like the attitudes here are different. It's quite nice to be honest and relaxed. I think we're all trying to get on. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to inject too much tension because we're all going to be fighting with each other when you know.
They are staying in the hotel as well.
Exactly.
So, like,
Yeah. And
there's no safe retreat here.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, I mean, do get hyped for tomorrow because it's a big thing. Like this whole tournament has been leading up to this. It's been like massively fun so far. The whole tournament's been absolutely great. The upsets have been phenomenal. Like seeing Love Nest go in the way that he did, seeing Barton go knocked out by Jesulin, Hands, of course, and all of those games. So I would get very very hyped. DevM is very confident, but as I say, these two guys have been playing against each other. They have been, they've been doing skirmish maps against each other, and Jesulin has beaten DevM on previous occasions. So I would be prepared for that.
Cheers to Jesulin from Argentina. So looks like a bit of fans here as well. Do you guys have any shout outs or any mentions, anything to say to all your fans that are watching and that will be watching tomorrow?
Well, in the chat now there are some Spanish players chatting, Pau and Yegor, and I wish they could watch my games tomorrow.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. I mean,
It'll be on
Let's
YouTube anyway.
yeah. Hopefully, we would like to see a lot of support for people. Have we got any DevM fans in the chat as well? Maybe if the chat can give some support to the players, and if you just want to like do a shout out or give some love, give some advice to your fans, and tell them that you're going to bring them home the victory.
Well, in my case, I'm going to try. It's going to be so difficult. Yes. And I wish unless I enjoy this incredible experience.
As for me, I guess like even if I lose the finals, it was already an enjoyable experience, like to come to Canada. So even if I lose, I'm not going to be too upset.
Oh.
And the second place prize is still very, very nice as well.
Yeah.
$1,000 for second, $2,000 for the grand final. So
This is nice. I mean, look, there is a mixed amount of support here. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's DEVM shouts and Jesulin shouts at the moment. So it's nice. I think that's what I said. At the end of the day, like, it's not necessarily like a divided community, but there's equal support here.
Also, shout out to Marcus in chat.
Whatever happens, we've got two great players in the room with us. Of course, Jesulin, who has just dominated Co2 since its launch. The first 2 years were all Jesulin. Coming here as one, huge DEVM success there, and he's bringing it back now. So it's a great, like, that's why it's a great final, really, because you've just got two really heavyweight names that have been with us for ages. And it's good to see you guys squaring up for position 1.
yeah, I think we'll have some really exciting games tomorrow, and we'll have to wait and see.
Are Jesulin and DEVM able to communicate with their respective mother tongues? I think you're saying there's some similarities in your languages.
Yeah, we can understand each other and talk to each other in our languages. So
Just to clarify, DEVM's from Portugal and Jesulin is from Spain, if anyone didn't know.
Yep. Okay, I think the questions are... We'll do one more, actually, because Tassos has asked this question a couple of times and we've missed it. What is, in their opinion, the most flexible and versatile faction for both Axis and Allies?
What was the most versatile? Was the question?
Yeah.
I guess that the most versatile for Axis are Austria. As for the Allied factions, I guess Soviets, I would say.
Same as Devin said, vanilla factions are the better because you can do several strategies.
Yeah, that's sort of the more diverse factions, basically. Yeah. Okay, I mean...
What we spend the prize money on? We asked you that, guys. We asked you that earlier, but we have someone that's keen to know what we do with the prize money.
Well, in my case, I'm going to save the money.
Yep.
Because I'm a student and I am not working and I need the money.
Yeah. yeah. So Company of Heroes is actually helping your
Paying
financial
your
situation.
education,
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, like I said before, I don't have any plans for the money right now, so...
So there we go. No one's really planned anything for the money. This is gonna kind of sit there.
What are you guys studying?
I'm studying computer science.
Networking.
Yeah.
And in the afternoons, I study in English.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Very
cool.
cool. So you're doing twice the workload, really, as well.
I need to improve.
Yeah. Oh, Decepticus, we've just answered that question.
Where did you learn English? Was that through school?
Yeah, still like learning from movies.
Yeah, give him, sorry.
I learned English basically from playing video games and watching movies, and that's it.
Because don't, like most countries in Europe now, you learn English in school?
Yeah, I had English, but most of the work was done by watching the movies, I guess, so yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one more request, actually, and then we'll kind of wrap it up,
Sure.
because we've obviously got our own schedule here that we need to kind of look out for. Your favourite vocal line from Company of Heroes, what is it, and can you do an impression of it?
I'm actually not sure what my favorite one is. I'm going to let Jesulin first answer.
The best.
Your favourite voice line. So maybe it's something one of the units says, and can you tell us what it is, and can you do like a little impression of it?
Well, the best line is when you win the match and it's a victory, no?
Well,
Victory is ours.
Yeah. Don't you play in Spanish though, don't you?
Yes, but
I remember
I know-
watching you
I
stream,
know
and it's all
in
in
English.
Spanish. Yeah.
Yep.
Victory is ours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for you?
Actually, I like also the ending, the victory. I think it is for the British when they say T or something stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does no one else like the ability is ready?
Yeah.
Like,
And when it says
good
it 3
news, the
times.
ability is ready.
Yeah.
Because, of course, if you late pick any doctrine with Brits, suddenly you get 7 of those voice communications activated. Yeah, so pretty much that's it. So we're going to say goodbye once again. Stormers here with Generals Gentlemen, DEVM and Jesulin. One more time, the finals will be tomorrow, 11 a.m. PDT, 6 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. BST. So we hope that you guys can join us. We hope also get on Twitter, maybe retweet some of the tournament links, because we'd love if you guys are here, of course, supporting the tournament. Then please give it all the kind of just attention that it deserves. Let's get as many people here as possible to support it. And of course, as you all know, more tournaments are in the pipeline. They will be coming. So let's make sure that we build up the best community around it.
Do you know, is the Humble Bundle still on?
The Humble Bundle is, I think, still going at the moment. And yeah, of course, like it's $30, I think, is for the shirt. But you can also get like all 4 games for like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you have any friends that you would like to introduce to Company of Heroes to, then it's a really good time now. Link them towards the tournament tomorrow.
Yeah.
Watch the stream, watch the games. If they're interested, they can pick up. The games are very cheap, and have some matches and join the community that we have going on.
And of course, just stay in touch and in tune with looking forward to announcements of skins, bulletins, and shirts from the Warpaint Championship. Which will be coming out. Anyway, this is us signing off from Vancouver. Thanks everyone.
Thanks to everyone that's
watching,
actually
everyone.
contributed to the Warpaint skins.
Oh,
because
yeah.
remember, the only reason why we're all here today is because we hit the milestones of the Warpaint skins. We hit milestone 5.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that this was possible due to the Warpaint sales. So yeah, shout out to everyone that did contribute to that fund.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
I think I'm fine.
Okay. Once again, we're signing off from Vancouver for real this time. Thank you everyone for joining Twitch chat. We will see you guys sharp tomorrow, early if you're in America, and of course a little bit later on the day if you're from Europe.
Vote for DEVM.
Anywhere else. All right. Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Ta-ra.